executives who've helped run incubators, social enterprises, foundations. Our panelists include Kent Pavey, partner at the Small World Group, Deepak Gadhia, chairman of Excellent Renewables, Jennifer Meehan, CEO of Grameen Foundation Asia. And I wanted to introduce our moderator, Kalpana Raina. Ms. Raina was a banker in media technology and healthcare in the US and globally. She left banking in 2007 and since has had a portfolio career, sitting on the boards of numerous public, private, and non-for-profit enterprises. She's developed several programs on women in leadership and advises them on consulting and mentoring, and also works in advisory capacity for women-founded startups. She's a senior advisor to Impact Investment Exchange and is also an equity investor. So with that, I'll turn it over to our moderator. And thank you all very much for coming.
Well, welcome and good afternoon, or good morning for me, because I'm on New York time, so you'll excuse me if I have my brain and my mouth don't always connect here. But we have a fantastic panel today, and you're going to hear their observations, their experiences, and their ideas on the topic of technology and inclusive access. But before I introduce them, let me just implant some seeds and frame the conversation that I hope will develop here. And I really hope it's going to be a conversation, since this is a nice, cozy group. We've all witnessed the impact that technology and technology applications have had in helping both underserved people and underserved regions. There are countless examples of social entrepreneurs using technology to influence both the delivery of and the content in areas such as education, energy, finance, and healthcare, mostly finance to date. In fact, it has become a cliche to say that technology is an enabler. But the interesting thing is really that we're just probably at the beginning of this intersection of technology and social enterprise. And the impact that we're going to see from this is probably yet to come. And as I turn this over to the panelists, I'd like them to talk both about their successes, their experiences, and I would urge them to highlight areas of focus for the future, areas that continue to present hurdles, both in technology or in service delivery, and also to focus on where technology has not worked in some of their experiences. Because I think until we understand that and learn from both the successes and failures from the past, we're not going to be able to assess the correct challenges of the future. So with that, let me welcome the panel. I think this is a dream panel because we have a social entrepreneur, a specialist in poverty alleviation, and a true technologist of the Silicon Valley type, nonetheless. Sitting right next to me is Jennifer Meehan. Jennifer started her career, as I did, with JP Morgan Chase in New York, but she moved much sooner than I did to the other side of the divide, if you like. She has worked extensively, with poverty-focused microfinance institutions, and as the founding director of the Capital Markets Group at Grameen Foundation, has led the development and launch of the 30 million Growth Guarantees product. That's innovation in financial products, which I hope she'll talk about a little bit. She now co-heads Grameen Foundation's global activities and sits on the boards of Grameen Foundation India and Kashf Holdings Limited in Pakistan. Our next panelist is Deepa Gaya. Deepak asked me not to talk too much about him because I think it's a journey that he would like to take you on himself. So I'm just going to mention that he did his process and environmental engineering degrees in Germany, and he returned to India with his wife to establish an NGO that focused on solar solutions, and is currently invested in Excellent Renewable Private Limited, a company that was started to offer biogas solutions. Our final panelist, Kent Pavey, is a partner in the Small World Group incubator, which operates out of Singapore here, and funds, mentors, and grows new companies in the clean tech, optics, and material spaces area. Kent is the true technologist in this group. He's a PhD in mathematical physics, and he focuses on tech solutions that others can then take on, transform, mutate, and scale to create true access. With that, I'm just going to turn it over to Jennifer and the panelists.
Thank you very much. I wanted to start by reflecting on the title, actually, of this session, Technology and Inclusive Access. For those of you who follow microfinance, and there'll be discussions about this over the coming days, as we learned in India over the last year and a half, access alone is not enough if we're talking about social change. It's technology, access, and impact. And so I hope to be able to bring those three threads together. Let me start by just saying what our vision as an organization, Grameen Foundation, is. In 25 years, we believe there will be nobody living under $1 a day anymore. Now, I call that pragmatic optimism. Other people have other words for it that are hardly as flattering or nice. However, I will stick by that. And we have that optimism because there are a couple of real things, two specific things I want to call out. One, the genius of Muhammad Yunus, in my mind, who is seen as sort of our heritage and inspiration, is not that he demonstrated that the poor can repay. That was just the first step in a journey of demonstrating the potential of poor people when given the opportunities that you and I have had to transform their own lives. He talks about this with the analogy of bonsai people. There's nothing different with the seed, but when you plant that seed in a smaller pot, you get a smaller replica of what would be possible if the pot was larger. Number one, we believe in the potential of the poor. The second is the mobile revolution, and that's really what I'm going to be spending a whole bunch of time talking about today. There's really a tidal wave of opportunity. We are just on the cusp of what is even possible that's happening today. Now, I've been in this space for 15 years, the social enterprise space. I first started in microfinance just after the 97 crisis, and my experience has broadened since then. But I've heard a lot about technology since then, and a lot of it has been that, sort of ephemeral vaporware, lots of talk, nothing really tangible. Went through kiosks, went through smart cards, went through MIS systems that were going to revolutionize the world, including Grameen Foundation, who started its own MIS system. So speaking of things we learned, that's one of those. But the mobile phone is different, and we really see it as a game changer for a couple of reasons. One, we had nothing to do with. It's in the hands of 5.5 billion people. We had nothing really to do with that. So it's out there. The second is it's affordable. One is it's affordable. Two is it's a two-way flow of information. We've always thought of connecting technology and the poor as a sort of one-way thing. The phone creates the kind of two-way connection that we had never really imagined, and we at Grameen Foundation have only started understanding the potential of in the last few years ourselves. We have to think of the phone as the computer in this generation's, the hands of this generation's poor. Now, we have 10 years of experience working with the mobile phone and poverty alleviation. We started replicating the village phone model that many of you may recall from Bangladesh. Essentially, it was identifying a woman in a village who would be sort of like the payphone. She would provide voice services to people in the village, and that would be her income-generating opportunity. That's where we started, but it's changed dramatically since then. Since then, we've focused on the development of applications for mobile phones that provide information in two areas, health and agriculture, because those are so fundamental to the economic lives of the poor, but also looking at financial services. And we've learned a lot of things, and for purposes of the group here, we put these together actually in a note that we were asked to deliver to Bill Gates himself, because he had been somewhat skeptical about the potential of mobile phones to create social change. And so some of these things I want to share with you. The first is any services must be designed and iterated locally with the poor as the innovator. Seems obvious, but development and even social enterprise has a knack for thinking it knows what's best for the poor than the poor themselves. And we learned this a very hard way. We partnered with Google.org, Google.com, and MTN in Uganda a number of years ago to create information applications for the phone. We did this across health, agriculture, sort of a sales platform, and we thought, let's put it out there and the miracle will start to happen. Well, it happened, to people like you and me who knew where to find it, could understand what was being said and how. And we realized not only was it not reaching the people we wanted it to reach, but the people it was reaching, interesting result, health, HIV/AIDS. There was a bunch of information there about risky behavior. What we found is that when people had more information about risky behavior, it reinforced their own current behavior. So if they were acting risky at that point, they would act riskier, actually. If they were acting less risky, they would continue down that path. We've actually put all of this information publicly on the internet because we felt like it was really important to share. And we started over, and we launched a program we called the Community Knowledge Worker, which leads to some of these other points I'm going to talk about that we've had some success over the last few years. So I talked about services must be designed and iterated locally. The second is they must be discoverable, actionable, and contextualized. So I talked about that a bit as well. The third is when you're working with the poorest people and you really want to go to the last mile, the last half mile, you need to have a human intermediary. We may not always need to do that, but people, either particularly the poorest people, particularly those in rural areas, well, most of them still don't have phones. If you're in urban areas, the percentage is near 100. As you go out farther and farther, it gets lower. But the human networks are critical. And what's interesting is those human networks can be people in the community who are poor themselves. The work we're doing in Uganda now, the community knowledge workers are farmers whose business partly is to have a low-cost Huawei Ideo smartphone. We provide an application that they can deliver information on crop prices, disease, there's GPRS, there's all sorts of services that can be used. And they are farmers themselves who are making money and delivering. This is part of how they make money in their local communities. The second is in Ghana, where we're working on health, and the nurses through the Ghana Health Nurses are an example of that. So the human network part in making things discoverable, actionable, and contextualized is critical. The biggest challenges we face in the future and what's possible is that behavior change, which is step one, is being only suggested at this point by early results, and positive impact on poverty alleviation, there is no evidence today. There's no evidence to suggest no, but there's absolutely no tangible evidence to suggest yet. And we are doing a huge amount of work around capturing behavior change and sort of through randomized controlled trials and other things, capturing social impact. But those results are not available yet, but when they are, we will put those out publicly. The third is, the next and final item that's really in question beyond the behavior change impact is the business model. If we're serious about poverty alleviation and the vision I articulated at the beginning, which is nobody living under $1 a day, this thing's got to be scalable to billion people or hundreds of millions of families. And the business model is going to be essential. And I don't think we have that figured out. And this model I'm talking about in Uganda, the poor don't pay for the information. The way the revenue is generated is thinking of that two-way information flow. Information is extracted from the level of the rural community and provided to others who actually pay for it. This is this can be quite complicated. There are privacy issues, and we're struggling with all those things. So I welcome feedback. I'll just close by saying, again, this vision on the back of technology and mobile, we have to consistently be asking ourselves these hard questions, some of the things that make us uncomfortable, so that we can really get over these hurdles and not assume these things. And again, our vision is not for a life of luxury for every person, but that people are moved beyond that vision of surviving, literally just trying to survive day to day, to truly having a life of possibility. And we believe that with mobile, that is possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. There's a lot of points there that I'm hoping people will pick up on in the Q&A. And I'm going to turn it over to Deepak
now. Good afternoon, friends. As I was introduced, I said I'm not going to let myself be introduced. I'm going to walk you through the journey, how I became a social entrepreneur, and what I see are the future potentials and possibilities and the problems she wants to know about. So basically, I and my wife came from Germany, and my wife who was a Malaysian, came back to India, was shocked to see that India was not what she had seen in Bollywood, not green, not clean. And so she started an NGO called Eco Center Ikinir. Initially, I was not convinced that what she was doing was right, but I was happy that she was doing something so that I could do what I wanted. But soon realized that she was happier than I am doing what she was doing, so I joined her. And thus started my journey of social entrepreneurship. She as an NGO went into villages and told them not to destroy the forest. And the woman would say, "Madam, it's very easy for you to say, don't do this, don't do that. What's an alternative?" And she, being a smart lady, passed on the problem to me, saying, "You are an energy guy, do that, do the solution." I thought it was a very easy problem. There must be a technology around, so I looked for it next. And then I was surprised to hear and learn when she told me about the problem that not only India, but 50% of the world population cooks on open fire. 6 million women and children die because of smoke in the kitchen. So I realized it was not just about deforestation, it was about health, it was about environment. So I seriously looked for a solution. Next. And then I saw that there was already a technology available called a solar box cooker, where you could put your cooking vessel, which was like a heat trap, and in about 2 hours, your rice, dal, vegetables, whatever you have put, be boiled, you could bake into it. So I thought here was a technology, so why reinvent the wheel, as they said. So I started telling people about it. And to my surprise, even though I was born and brought up in Bombay, studied in Germany, and I thought I do not know, villager do not know, villager knew about it. Some people even had it, but they were not using it. So I asked them, how come you not use it? And they said the problem with this technology is that it does not do what we want. It does what the technology wants, and we do not accept it because why should we adapt ourselves to technology? It's too slow, it does not fry, it does not make chapatis, Indian flatbread, so we are... So I said, I realized that the technology doesn't have to be functional, it has to be user-friendly. Everyone talk of user-friendly now in IT, ever since IT is there. So I looked for a technology and brought the technology to India. Next. So I brought a technology which I saw in Germany. Initially, when I was shown, I had said, no one is going to use it because I come from Bombay. And in Bombay, one of the most expensive cities in the world, I said, if the solar cook comes in the house, I have to come out of the house because it takes away to my place. But going to villages, I realized that space was not a problem. So they would not want not using it. So I brought this technology where you put a dish, which works like a dish antenna. The light is reflected onto cooking vessel. The temperature goes to 250 degrees centigrade. And now you can fry, you can make chapatis, you can boil. In about 30 to 40 minutes, it will give a whistle like a gas cooker would do. So I thought, great, now I have a solution. Now I'm going to get a Nobel Prize. Initially, all my clients were very happy, thrilled, but they were all middle-class women. And then one of the days, I went and visited them and thinking that they will praise me again and said, no, Deepak, you're a typical man. You all sit in the comforts of the air-conditioned room, and you want us, the woman, to go into the sun. Why don't you bring the sun why don't you bring the technology where the sun comes in the kitchen? And knowing my wife and knowing women, I know they are never satisfied, so I did not take it seriously. But now, having converted into a business model, I said, no, that's not a bad idea. I'm sorry.
Sorry. We're the women in the room.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm praising them. If not being pushed, I think we would have not solved the problem. We don't see the problem till we are shown the door, you know. So I looked for a solution, and again, I went back to Germany where I had been in touch with technocrats. So I'm not an inventor, I'm more a facilitator. I listen to between the lines and find solutions. So I went back and brought the technology next year, where you put a dish outside and you bring the light in the kitchen and you can cook in the comforts of the kitchen. This is what a woman wanted. But the problem was in bringing this technology, the technology cost went up. Now I already had problem selling even the small cooker which was costing about $130. Now I had to sell a cooker costing $1,000. So the lady who wanted to cook in the comforts did not want it because it was too expensive. So then I had to convert it. Next, please. So you see now here, I converted that cooker into a community cooker. So instead of supplying it to an individual household, I started offering it to midday meal programs. In India, government, to bring children to the school, gives them free meal. So I said, that's a great idea. I would offer them these solar cookers where they can now save the wood, which they had to otherwise use to cook. And also normally, there was a dichotomy. In daytime, the teachers will tell them about the forest and not to cut the trees, but evening, the same teacher will tell them, go and collect the wood from the forest. So the children were always confused, you know, like what's right, what's wrong. So we have offered a solution to both. So with one dish now you can cook for about 100 children. So this is a cooker for 200 children. And you can cook in the comforts. Next. Then suddenly I started receiving inquiry to cook for thousands of people. Means what I had done was I had moved away from being an NGO and started a company. Because I soon realized that to be an NGO you require funding. And that would come either from government or it would come from philanthropists. Now, if it's going to come for government, and I will have to bribe the government, I will have to submit reports to government, and if I want to go to philanthropists, I have to do what they think is right. They do not want to see your problems, what you come with. They have all a mindset. Some want to work in education, someone want to in disaster management, some in health. No one wanted to work in solar cookers, like that was something technology. So I said, okay, I will start my own company. I will make my money and do what I think what is right for me or right for the people. Means I did it because it made me happy too. So then suddenly now I had need for thousands of cookers. Now it was not possible to bring the light in the kitchen, and then suddenly the idea came, why do we bring the light in the kitchen? Basically, when you want to cook, you want to bring heat in the kitchen. So again, with the help of German technology, a company where I was working, we developed the technology where you put series of dishes in the terrace, and you put water in the focus, and the water becomes steam, and then the steam is sent to the kitchen. And now you can cook again in the comfort of the kitchen. Your now dishes could be in the terrace or far away from the kitchen, and now you can cook in the comfort of the kitchen with the steam. The advantage was, it was very quick. You can cook 32 kilograms of rice in 12 minutes. You could cook in stainless steel vessels, which was not possible. It was very hygienic. It was very comfortable. So suddenly it became a product which I started to run with. Next, please. So here you see the system which we installed for the Indian Army. It's a great looking photograph. It's not a montage. It's a real photograph with the beautiful mountains. But this is to show you a solar system works on light and not on heat. Because a lot of people get confused, saying, oh, solar cooker is good for India, Africa, but not for our country because there is no sun. It's too cold. Here the temperature is minus 15 degrees centigrade, but the radiations are good, and you can cook even when the temperature is minus 15 degrees. And you can see the kitchen which was used before to cook with gas, it's kerosene and wood. It was all dark, soot. So here you can see all the problems associated with cooking. And the same kitchen, when converted to solar, you can see it's now clean. It is with stainless steel vessel. It's very hygienic, very comfortable. Next, please. So then we went on to make bigger and bigger systems. This was the world's largest cooker at Tirupati temple, which cooks 30,000 meals per day. So I thought that was the world's biggest, but no, I was wrong. Next. I got an inquiry to cook for 50,000 people. So this is the world's largest now, which cooks 50,000 meals per day. There are 73 dishes in the terrace, sending the heat into the kitchen and cooking with that. Next, please. And then suddenly we said, why are we always focused on cooking? Now we have a technology where we can get high temperatures. And how do we remove poverty? Why not only think of cooking? And then we looked and said, why is there poverty? And what we found was dichotomy, or something very wrong, was that the people who grow food go hungry. So there is something wrong. How can a farmer who grows food go hungry? And we suddenly realized that the problem is that a farmer sells a product which is perishable. So he cannot sit on it. So he has to sell it to the middleman. So the money is made by the middleman, not by the farmer. So we said, how can we convert the perishable into non-perishable? So what we now do is, we now instead of selling potatoes, a farmer can sell potato chips. So instead of getting 60 cents per kilogram, he can get now $2 per kilogram. Now he can sit onto the product till he gets better money. He has a better value addition. The income generation is done at a village level. So suddenly we started moving from cooking into food processing. Next. It could be now used for making bread, biscuit, cakes, pizza bases and all. Next. And then we said, Time magazine brought out an article saying the first and the second World War was because of oil, but the third is going to be because of water. So we started working on desalination. So here you see drinking water from seawater. Means 97% of the water in the world is in the sea, and only 3% comes from the glaciers and other places. So drinking water is going to be a great opportunity for villagers and people to use solar energy. Next. Suddenly when someone told me, you know what, Deepak, you are great, you are giving us heat when it's hot. Can you not do air conditioning when it's hot? So I said, why not? So we looked around, and there was a technology where you could actually do air conditioning with heat. So we did the world's largest air conditioning plant. This is a 100-ton air conditioning plant for a hospital, 160-bed hospital, where we with steam do cooling and then cool the hospital. And then we said, why only concentrate on comfort cooling? Why can't I make cold storages? As I said, I've always wanted a linkage between villages and perishable products. So now we are working on cold storages. Next. This is another application which we heard from a person, where like whenever some people come, we show them the power of sun by putting a piece of wood into the focus, and immediately it's burned. The temperature is 500 degrees centigrade. And the man said, can you not burn dead bodies with it? I said, you're crazy. I'm like, people are not even shifting from cooking to normal solar cooking. And what about crematorium? It doesn't come in question. He went and suddenly brought me a lot of money and said, you can start manufacturing. I said, how did you sell it? The product is even not there. It's in your mind. And you getting money to, and I'm not able to sell my products. And this man has no PowerPoint, no English knowledge, and he sold a product which was even only in his mind. And he taught me something. He taught me that what we have is knowledge. What he had was wisdom. He did something very smartly. What he did was he made a model, went to one religious leader in India and said, in my village there is not enough wood to burn people. If you bless these people, will accept it. Now, because it was blessed by a spiritual leader, there was no resistance. It was immediately accepted. So sometimes what is true means if you want to bring science into villages, you have to also add it to spirituality. Then it will become faster vehicle to move. So that was a solar crematorium. Just imagine, in India, we are 700 million Hindus, and every body requires 300 kilograms of wood. There is not enough wood in world to burn all the Hindus. You will have to put atom bomb into the country to burn everyone. So it's better to put solar cookers instead of atom bomb. But again, I would like to go back and say, what happened? I came to India to help villages, now helping bigger and bigger people. I'm helping temples, I'm helping army, I'm helping hospitals, but where are my poor people? And there again was a dichotomy. People who wanted the technology could not afford it, and people who could afford it did not want it because they had subsidized LPG, they had electricity. So I said, I have to work somewhere else, and this is the village where we have come up with a solution. We went to the villager, and as she talked about, I met Mr. Yunus 2 weeks back in Zurich, a great guy. So I thought, he has got a Nobel Prize, now I can learn from him. I did not get my Nobel Prize, I will learn from him and get mine this time. So I started offering microfinancing, because I thought if a rich man can buy a car or a house in installment, why can't a poor guy get it? And it's good, the poor guys are good payers, they will pay back. And to my surprise, my poor said, no, we will not want it. I was surprised. I said, all the time people were told that poor people are good people, now he wants free. I said, why, how can I give you free? He says, no, it's not problem of free. He says, why should I replace something which is free with something where I have to pay money? I thought about it and I said, if I was a poor man, I would also behave like him. Because for him, the wood is free. He doesn't care about environment. He cares about survival. If he had money, he will buy a cycle or a TV, not a solar cooker. And when initially I tried to emotional way, I said, oh, but your wife has to collect wood for 2 hours. He says, my wife, why are you worried about it, So I soon realized, don't use that emotional gag on that. That doesn't work. Then we came out with a solution. We said, anything has to be connected with money. Money makes the world go round. So now we don't sell it as a solar cooker, we sell it as an income generation tool. Now people buy the solar cooker, not to cook, but we help them to make them bread, biscuit, cake, jalebi, Gadhia, pakora, a lot of Indian dishes, which they sell. And the slogan is, you pay from your profit, not from your pocket. And combining with biogas technology, we have been able to now do 4 villages where the whole village cooks on solar cooker. We have again added some marketing gag. They are the smoke-free village. The whole village does not generate smoke. So because of that, a lot of TV and press went in, and suddenly now people have become very important. They are very proud owners of the solar cookers or being the first village in the world to be smoke-free. Next. Again, as I was very happy to hear, poor people are the smartest people. They are the survivors. I was told of a crazy lady who does not use solar cooker for cooking but does ironing. I went there and people thought I will scold her, and I was very proud of her. She learned it's a product which produces high temperature. She was buying coal and using for ironing clothes. Now she puts the iron in a solar cooker, hits it and iron clothes. So innovation, you give solutions and people will work and find better ways of using it. Next, please. So for me, this is the proudest picture. Initially, when you go in any villages, you will see a woman carrying wood or water. Now what you see, she's still carrying a solar cooker. They are do-it-yourself kit. We teach them how to assemble them. They go to the villages, they assemble it themselves, they create self-help groups and create income generating activities. It could be selling water, it could be selling food products, it could be ironing, it could be many other applications. They all will find their own ways of using it. Next. Then suddenly I realized that the problem with India is that we have 300 sunny days, but we still have 65 sunny days when there is no sun. And if you start a business where you have to offer a product, you have to offer it 365 days, otherwise people will not come to you because they will say, today there is no sun, we do not know if the guy is selling the product or not. So we said, why not combine it with the biogas? In India, 70% of the population lives in villages. We have a lot of biomass available, we have a lot of cow dung available, we have got other biodegradable waste, so why not tap it? So we looked, again like solar cooker, we started with biogas technology where we saw that the technology again was there, but people are becoming a bit richer. Now instead of earning $1, they earn $2. Now no one wants to keep a cow because it means to get up at 5 in the morning. It means to take the cow dung, which is no more as holy as it was before. So now we started community biogas plants where we now employ people who run the biogas plant. And this is the biogas plant where now the gas is piped to the village. The whole village with 120 households is given piped gas. The only thing what we had to do was we had to innovate and increase the pressure of the gas so that each and every house gets the gas at the same pressure. Otherwise, people would fight that I also supply cow dung, he supplies cow dung, how come he gets more gas, I get less? So we made it a ring pipe with a pressure which was generated with a water column, and the whole village gets pipe gas, and what comes out is a slurry, which is an organic fertilizer, which can be used for organic farming, which is again becoming a great thing. So suddenly, like biogas, solar, I started with biogas company and combining it. Next. Then suddenly we found out that there were many places where biogas was possible, but there was no use of gas because it was very far away from the village. All these big gaushalas or the places where they keep the cow there, you cannot keep them in village, so they are far away. Now, you cannot bring the pipeline so far away, so we developed for the first time in our country a technology where you can use any organic material, not just the cow dung, but any organic waste, and then we bottle them. We scrub the CO2 out of it, and we pressurize it and put them in bottles, and they are supplied to the household in bottled gases. Next, please. And suddenly we realize that when you remove the CO2, it's no more just a biogas with 65% methane, it is 92% methane, which is like nothing now but a CNG, that is compressed natural gas, and we can also drive vehicles. So for the last 3.5 years, we have been running our ashram buses truck with biogas, and now suddenly we have a dream, we want to convert our villages into refineries. Till now, the villages would go fodder and food, but now they will also grow fuel, so they would be refineries. Next, please. So this was our president, Abdul Kalam, who is a great technocrat. He was known as Missile Man, but now he's a great social entrepreneur. He talks to children, women, villages, has a vision of a concept called Pura, providing urban amenities in rural areas. He's realized that if you want to help a country, you have to help the villages, because that's where the problems are. You stop the problem at the root level and not at the level when suddenly it's too late. He came to our ashram to see the solution that we are already doing at our local level. Next, please. So that's our dream and vision. As we heard, mobiles have reached everywhere. Just the way mobiles have changed life, we need to develop technologies which people need at local level. It should be appropriate. It should be made with local raw material, local technologies, operated by local people, installed by local people, and even repaired by local people. And as we see from these two examples, it's possible. With your all cooperation, we can do a lot more technologies. Thank you very much. I'm sorry about the speed.